Hello, I'm JustHitSquare, and welcome back to another gameplay video on The Division. Today, guys, I'm going to be giving you a lot of information on 1.7. There may have been many videos made before this, but usually a lot of those videos capitalized on one different thing in The Division on 1.7. They would either talk about classified gear sets, they would talk about global events, or this or that, or how to get this or how to get that, and blah blah blah. In this video you will be learning the majority of what I have learned in 1.7, little details, and hopefully you do enjoy the video. And guys, let's get to it. We're going to go into detail a little bit more in the classified gear sets. If you didn't watch my previous video on classified gear sets, I'll be going over detail right here. Alright, so first and foremost, they are going to be three different gear sets that you could acquire as of right now. Now, I believe about 2 more weeks we'll be having another global event, somewhere in that area, 2 to 3 weeks. And there'll be three new ones that come in during that time. Now, the ones that came in this last time was Deadeye, Final Measure, and Lone Star. And to know that they are classified, you can see I have them locked. Of course, I lock all of my gear that I'm going to be using in gear sets and so on and so forth. You can see right below that little lock right there, there's an envelope. So that means that that is classified. Make sure that if you get those, look over them very well, because they're a lot more useful than what your regular gear sets are. Now, some people may want to just go 4 regular gear sets and go 2 pieces of classified gear set. Well, if you want to do that, that's fine. There's no thing that makes it to where you can't have a full 6-piece. It's not. What I'm trying to say is you don't have to have the full 6-piece of classified gear set in order to enjoy the 5 or 6-piece. These pieces was just made to boost up stats and to give things to you that you just normally wouldn't have. And having a full 6-piece of the same or whatnot will actually be better than just having a regular 6-piece of gear sets. So other than that, guys, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you right here. As you can see, the firearms, the stamina, and the electronics right here. You may not get rolls like this. You may get better rolls than this, but you can see the armor isn't worth too much on this piece. But the thing is, as far as I know, the attributes doesn't really change. It's what happens between the firearm, stamina, and electronics that does change. The thing about it is that we can only roll to a 1272 before. Now we can roll up to a 1401 off of these. Now, I do recommend, if you are going to make a 6-piece or even 5-piece, make sure at least one of those pieces is the holster that is going to be classified, so that way you can at least have better stats across top 3 right here, because no other gear piece will give you that equivalent across the top 3. The holster is the only one that will, so I recommend doing that. Now, another thing about these, before I go over what they can do in the 5 and 6 piece, the thing about it is that you can roll at least 2 of the stats. That means either one of the attributes, one of the firearm, stamina, or electronics, or you could roll 2 on the top, none on the bottom, or you can roll skill haste. You could roll firearms also. So you got 2 things that you can roll, and you can roll them as many times as you want. So it gives you a lot more leniency to roll and make the piece the way you want it to be made. I'm just waiting for them to make it to where you can roll the damn armor. That would be fucking awesome, because what if you get a great piece and the armor is shitty, but you don't want to put it on because you're going to lose too much armor? Well, armor's not as important in the game anymore, but still it makes it look good, and it helps you. Any bit of it's going to help you. Alright, so what we're going to do is come into here, and we're going to be showing you the 5 and 6 piece. On the Deadeye, the 5th piece enables 40% initial bullet stability, 20% marksman rifle critical hit damage. As you can see, the 5th piece usually will amplify what the 2 and the 3 pieces did and tries to combine those. So you got 80% initial bullet stability with 5 pieces and 40% critical hit damage now with just 5 pieces. So you get 20% more than what you normally would have if you have 5 pieces Deadeye. And now 6-piece is when zoomed, getting a headshot kill with marksman rifles will increase critical hit damage by 20% every second to a maximum of 100% and will increase stability by 100%, last for 10 seconds or until no longer zoomed. Now, I've got 1 piece to go before I can get all of the classified gear set for the Deadeye, and it's taken me a while to get it. It's just like it does not want to drop. I believe it's my backpack that I need really bad. And to be honest, I really don't see me using this, but once I do get it, I will be making a set and trying to show it off to you guys. Alright, so we got final measure right here. And final measure, 5 pieces, is 15% exotic damage resilience and 15% protection from elites. You can see with 5 pieces now you would have 40% exotic damage resilience and 30% protection from elites. And 6 pieces is when a grenade is diffused, the player and all group members within 30 meters gain a buff based on the grenade type that was diffused. EMP and shot grenades increase your skill power by 20% for 8 seconds. Fragmentation and incendiary grenades will increase your weapon damage by 20% for 8 seconds. And flashbang and tear gas grenades will increase your armor by 20% for 8 seconds. This is really good. I do got a full set that I'm working with right now. I believe I'm trying to get at least 1 gun before I do show it off. And also I've got the Lone Star build going on that I'm working on too. Alright, so I really do enjoy the final measure. Alright, now we go down to Lone Star, and 5 pieces will give you 50% ammo capacity and 12% more LMG and shotgun damage. So that means with 5 pieces altogether, up to 5 pieces, you'd have 150% ammo capacity and 20% LMG and shotgun damage. Alright, 6 pieces. When a weapon has 50% of its magazine remaining, there is a 75% chance to receive a bonus that activates when the final bullet is fired from the current magazine. Once activated, the magazine is instantly refilled, weapon damage and the fire rate is increased by 20%. The bonus is cancelled by reloading, swapping weapons, or exiting combat. Now, I've got a little bit of something to tell you about this right here. This is like a miniature tac link, and this is awesome. I use this quite often. It procs quite often, and I've had it to proc 3 or 4 times in a row. That doesn't mean it's broke. It means it has a 75% chance to activate each time it reloads. So hey, don't think that it's not doing its job, because it's doing its job the way it should be doing it. And another thing right here, the 4 pieces originally was swapping the weapons out, then you don't have to reload. It instantly reloads for you. But in order to get this to work, you cannot reload, swap, or exiting combat, any of that. So the 4-piece honestly is almost like it's non-existent if you want the 6-piece buff. So if you get this set, I recommend LMG is the best to get with this, because the shotgun, the RPMs on it will go up by 20%, but there's only one automatic shotgun in the game that I can remember, and the other ones they're not automatic. So the thing about this is that you will not get the buff off of that, but you will get the buff off of the damage on the shotgun, and it is good. But the LMG benefits from the 6-piece more than any of them, and the shotgun benefits from the 4-piece more than any of them. So just bear that in mind. What do you want to do more? I usually use my LMG. It stops doing the main berserker off of it, the 6-piece, then I'll switch over to my shotgun. If it doesn't do it, then I'll switch over to my shotgun when they're close to being done, and just finish them off. Alright guys, so honestly that is pretty much what you need to know about the classified gear sets. Now a little bit more honestly about those. As far as the way they drop, they're during global events, and they don't really drop, but we can go in here and I will show you where you do get them during global events. Now when you come to in here, this guy's going to have superior outbreak caches. It's 15 global event credits. This is where you have the chance of getting the classified gear sets pieces. And they're, you know, if you've seen one of my videos, I had a 10 classified gear set, or a 10 superior outbreak cache opening caches, and it actually, I got 11 out of there. So yes, they do benefit. But after the global events is over with, then you cannot get no more points until the next one comes around, and they're not going to be the same, and I'll tell you about that here in a moment. Now the last one was called Outbreak, and it was pretty fun. I did really enjoy that. Now you're probably asking, well, how do I get them JustHitSquare after the global events is over? Okay, the global events, once they're over, the best way that I've seen to get those and to get these classified gear set pieces is honestly during boss runs and actually coming off of bosses. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to get these. They're very rare. I think they're like a 3% chance that they're going to drop anytime that they do. They're actually more rare than an exotic on the game, which honestly shouldn't be in the case. I believe that the exotic should be more rare. But here's the thing, guys. I run the boss run quite often. I also run HVTs quite often. I don't do the DZ much, but I've been doing it lately to try to figure out best ways of doing things. Now the classified gear set pieces, I've gotten them out of the boss run. I have not gotten any out of the DZ yet, but I do not play the DZ a whole lot. But I run the boss run every day. There's 15 bosses in that run. They respawn every 4 hours, and I get at least one gear set piece every time I run. I've noticed that if I run alone, then I get more. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it because they're trying to spread the loot out more. But with when global events is around and you get the caches and open them, then you won't be able to share those classified gear set pieces. But once they drop in the world afterwards, then you will. Far as I know, during the global events, they do not drop. They only come out of these caches, so they put them in the loot pool. So here's another thing, guys. Alright, so when the global events does come back, here's something to actually think about that to actually probably going to piss you off. Alright, so we're going to have out of those, all of these gear sets are supposed to be coming out of there. All the classified gear sets. They're going to be introducing 3 new classified gear set in those. So then you're going to have 6 classified gear sets that's going to be able to be gotten from those caches I just did show you. So now your chances when the next one comes out is more likely going to be very hard to get full sets. And trust me, guys, if you're not on here grinding the hell out of this game each day, you're not going to be as lucky to get these gear set pieces. So you just better hope you're running with people and that when they do get them, they do notice them. Some people delete them without notice them, but when they do get them and notice them, hopefully they got the piece that you're looking for because these are hard. Hopefully they actually interpret something into the game to make it a little bit easier to get these, because I just don't feel like it's easy enough to get these at the moment. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start about the global events, and I'm going to be discussing over those. Now, if you have any comment or if you have any questions, you can send me any comments in the comment section and so on and so forth. Now we're going to be going over the global events. Now, the one that just came was called Outbreak, and you know, and actually it was pretty fun. I mean, they had different variations of what you could do with it, how you could get the points better and stuff like that. Now, right here is where you're going to come to right here, and you can see that's offline, but once they do come up, it's going to say 7 days. You're going to have 7 days to do these global events once they do happen, and they're supposed to come once every month, and I'm talking only 7 days. So once they come, you had better be getting in here and getting them done, because then that's your best way to get your classified gear set pieces and so on and so forth. Now, while I'm in here, I'm going to be showing you right here. This says offline, but the different kind of global events, they're probably going to be, I think they're going to be 4 of them, and I'll tell you later why I think that. The first one is Outbreak. The next one's going to be Assault, in my opinion, and I'll tell you also why I think that here in a moment. But right here, it's going to tell you the different variations of it, and I believe we had Outbreak. That would be the regular one, to where headshot damage was increased, and then I believe you had critical and severe, or severe and critical. I can't really remember. Now, one of them was if you done the enemies would get close to you, they would start hurting you. They would start taking down your health. And trust me, guys, I've got a really good reclaimer build, and I was healing for 18.5k, and with it plus my Caduceus heals 60,000 over 15 seconds. So if you stayed inside of my support station, you was getting healed for quite a lot. Now, these enemies would rush you, and the more that they did, then they would hurt you even more because it's stacked. Now, the other one was the hardest, and like I said, I can't remember if it's critical or severe. It may have been critical, but that one would enable them to do the same, as far as it would actually do kind of an all top thing. You would be able to have more damage per headshot, and also once the enemies would get close to you, then they would start hurting you. And plus, you also had another thing to where if one of your teammates or you hit a headshot, it would mark the enemy, and once the other person would hit a headshot, it would completely explode and kill them. So like 2 or 3 headshots and they're completely dead and gone. So all these tough ass bosses, you could kill them in 2 or 3 shots. They'd be sconed as long as they was headshots. Now, the reason they did that is because they enabled you to get more global events and make it a little bit tougher for you. So honestly, I think it was like 125 to 150 extra. And to be honest with you, if you had a good team that knew how to do a whole lot of headshots and was really good at it, then it was a lot quicker than you normally would be able to get through it. Other than that, you just go through it on legendary and just do regular outbreak and do it and get it over with like that. Of course, commendations was recommended to do through the other severes and stuff like that. But the thing about it is that not many people really cared. All right, so now we'll go to here. This is the officer, and this is where you see how many caches you're bought. Now these are on each character that you do have. They don't combine themselves. And you can see the credits earned by this character was 60,698. So I had 2 other characters, and I think altogether with credits earned, I earned around 70 or 80 something thousand. So yes, I did try my best to get as many things done as I could, but I also have a life outside of gaming or YouTube. I have a wife and 2 kids, so my family comes before any of this. But you can see that the caches bought was 46. I think all of my caches together, I bought around 60 or so. You can see right here, it's going to tell you the events, what you did. It's going to tell you the missions, what kind of difficulty that you did them on, and it'll tell you the ones that are in the global events at the moment that you actually would be able to gain more global event credits from. And we got the CMDs, accommodations, we got the kills, the deaths, all this stuff, conduct, so on and so forth. Now, right here, you can see that once I come over, like just this for instance, you can see that this is outlined. Once the global events do activate, I don't know if there'll be a different color this time around, but with Outbreak, the whole inside of the outline right here of the building and the mission was purple, and that makes you know that that was where they would be at, to where you could actually make more credits. Now, the thing about it is that across the whole world, the global events is going to be happening when they do happen. So you're going to be able to get some of the damage buff off of anything, even if it isn't during these that you can see that are where you go to get the extra credits from, and so on and so forth. The global events will be worldwide on here, PvP and PvE. So don't worry about, well, I'm going to get this if I don't do this, or I ain't going to do that, or, whatever. The thing is, the quickest way to get global events, honestly, was on PC. They did, what was this one right up here? They did this incursion, Clear Sky. The reason why it was easier on the PC is because the aim assistant and the aiming is so much better on the PC. It's easier to be aiming, so therefore they was running Lone Star, and they run through it in 3.5 minutes or so, and they could get a ton of credits. And how global events goes, in order to get the things I'm fixing to tell you, is that you had to enable to be able to get a lot of global events each hour. And that's the thing. Now, the way I see it, the best way if you didn't want to do that in order to get the global event credits is the number one way for me was if you didn't have a team to run through any of the incursions like that would be going in the boss run, and you could get at least 2250 I believe per run. Now if you have three characters you could switch on each character and do it again, but if somebody else had characters you could switch on them and join them. You could actually change servers and be able to do it again. So if you planned it out just right, you can do a lot of damn boss runs and get a ton of shit. But any 20 to 30 minutes, you could get 22 to 50 in that area, and that may not sound a lot, but you know, the thing about it is the quickest way outside of clear sky. Now, another way was going into the DZ, doing the landmarks and clearing out them. Each boss would be 150, and there you go. Now, the reason why I'm saying that per hour, because this is global event activity. During the first global event, and probably this will happen in every global event, this is a leaderboard right here that will be online. And you will, it will be tracking your hourly global event credits. And what it means is it's going to track how many you can get in 1 hour. I do believe they're working on a different formation for this because it's very hard to get the tiers that people wanted to get in order to get the things. Now this time around there was 3 masks that you could get, and there was a tier 1, a tier 2, and a tier 3. The tier 3 being the highest, and tier 2 being the mid, and tier 1 being the lowest. Tier 1 you would get 1 mask, tier 2 you get 2 masks, and tier 3 you get 3 masks. Plus you'd also get the Outbreak outfit during the global events because this was called Outbreak, and you'd also get like I think gun paints and so on and so forth that you normally couldn't get. So they gave you quite a bit for getting tier 3. But anyways guys, that is how that did work. I only got tier 1, but it did say that I got tier 3, but I don't know why it didn't give me but 1 mask. But you know what, that's fine. I mean, I honestly feel like I was good enough to get tier 3, but I don't feel like the reward system on that is very well. I will be going over that in another video, but not this one. Other than that, guys, that kind of covers up global events of how they work. Now, one more thing before I get off the global events, I'll go to accommodations, and the reason why I was telling you that I think there'll be 4 is because right there is 2 slots beside assault. You can see global event outbreak, you can see global event assault, and that's the reason why I believe that'll be the next one. They've done preloaded that, and there are going to be 2 more. You can already see the icons, but you don't know what they are. So I'd say there'll be 4 completely totally different global events, and that really gives a lot of variation to the game. Now we will go over here and I'll talk to you about the right here we have the premium vendor, and we see that he has encrypted caches. Right, so we're going to go ahead and start talking to you about how you actually get to open these. Alright, so you're going to need something called a cipher key, okay, and you can actually see how many you got right here. I do have 6, but I am actually going to be getting 10 of these before I do open another one, because I will be doing an opening video for you guys once I do get 10. And then you can see right here there's cipher key fragments. Now, once you open one of them boxes like I was just showing you during the premium, you see the caches up here, the gold ones. You can get emotes out of them, you can get paints for your backpack, for your gun, you can get vanity items and so on and so forth, and I'll be showing you some of those here in a moment. Alright, so here's the thing. We're going to go over cipher key fragments real quick. This is the way that I found the best way to get those. Alright, these come off of bosses and doing headshots on enemies. So if you're really good at headshots, you can have good chances of getting these off of them. It takes 10 fragments to make 1 key. So just know that. And these can take time if you're not good at headshots or you're not doing a lot of bosses each time. I recommend doing the boss run. There's lots of enemies. You can do headshots on those. Take a chance of getting cipher key fragments. Plus, the boss run usually for me gives me 3 to 5 each time I run it. So that's 3 to 5 every 15 bosses, somewhere in that vicinity. And like I said, you can also get classified gear sets more easily doing it that way than you can anything else. Now I've also gotten classified gear set pieces out of my field proficiency caches, but no other cache. So just letting you know right there. Now, like I said, cipher key fragments takes 10 to make a complete cipher key. These keys will open this right here, will open encrypted caches. Once you open those, there's going to be a little animation and stuff, and this guy's going to get a box, and then he's going to open it for you. Bam, you're going to get stuff. Now, right here is actually what you can get out of it. Or like I said, backpack paints. You're getting paints for your guns, and then you can go right here and you can see collections. This time around, they may have more next time, but this time they have striker vanity rewards. Uh, they have tactician, reclaimer, space failure, seeker, and they have deadeye. Now, the thing is, if you have complete sets of these, then putting them on would be awesome. Like you can't have the seeker or the striker yet, and the seeker is supposed to be some kind of new gear set that they was working on back in the day. These right here only unlocked one at a time, and that's when you get a full set of any of these corresponding vanity sets. So, like I said, if you had all the tactician, or let's say right here, if you have all of Deadeye classified gear set pieces, then put Deadeye on, and then that would be something like you can see right here, the boots, the shirt, the pants, and then the hat. So if you had all of it, then you could get that on. So I'm like, where's my Lone Star? And, where's my Final Measure sets and stuff like that. So, but anyways, guys, that's kind of like how that goes. All right, so I kind of covered all of that in one go right there. Now, also, I'm going to show, like, if you're walking around and you see these people and you're like seeing numbers, like you can see 700 there and stuff like that. In order to check out your own, then you can go right to accommodations and Dozier, and you can see that mine's 1730. The highest I've seen is like 2325. I don't know how high they can go, but this determines honestly how good the player is, how many things they've done in the game. But there could be a lot of people that's carried, but this is another way of knowing that somebody has done a lot of the game and stuff like that. You can see that I don't do any PvP much. Underground survival, last stand, so on and so forth. I just don't do many of them things. But anyways, that kind of goes over that. And you can also see that once you get some of them cleared out, you can go over here and you can see that right here. Oh, give me a minute. Right here you can see patches. Like I've gotten several patches already for doing accommodations, and those add a little bit different things to you to make you stand out. Wait, I got this and you don't. So you get them by doing accommodations, and that is another way also to get the cipher key fragments is by doing accommodations. So that's another way you can get those as well. Make yourself differ from the other people out in the world. All right, so other than that, let's talk about the defense. D3FNC gear set. They have buffed or actually nerfed the set. It's not as good. It takes more damage. It's not as good anymore. And another thing, you can see, I also say that then the what is it? The Seeker Mine, the clusters, whatever. The Seeker Mine doesn't do as much damage as it used to. Also, another thing right here, the pouches. As you can see, I've got 131 target intel. You can only get 99 beforehand. So they've actually upped that also. And another thing right here will be where your global event credits go. This is premium credits, of course. And this shows right here that now you can see how much money that you can stack up. And like here is the limit, of course, to your Phoenix credits. So there's been little odds and ends that's actually came into the game. Other than that, I do believe I've got one more thing. Also, I'll show you right here. You go right here up into this area. You can come in here, interact, and voila. you can change your person's way of what they look like from what they originally looked like. Now, as far as I know, you can't change like their face, what your face that you picked for them. But other than that, you can change all the other things. So that's kind of cool if you wanted to change up and stuff like that. Uh, Now, other than that, guys, I've got one more thing to honestly show you. And before I do show you, once the global events, once they do come in, make sure you do your HVTs, whether they're daily or weekly, because they are going to have quite a bit of credits during those two. Pretty much everything in the game when global events come in, they actually there's a lot of stuff you can do to get the credits. Get as many as you can, because man, trust me, once they're gone, the grind is real. Alright guys, before I close the video out, you can go to any vendor in the dark zone and you can see that right here on the bottom, consumable cache. So that this is something they've added, and it's 1 canned food, 1 water, 1 soda, 1 energy bar, and up to 3 dark zone keys. It costs you 25,000 dark zone credits. Now, is it worth it? I don't know, you decide. And another thing, there is now in the shooting range, you can actually go and there is a stash in there as well. Now, one more thing before I go. I know this is a lot of info to take in, guys. I've tried my best to give you a lot of info for 1.7, and I'm going to make another video on my thoughts on it. But another thing is the talent that is called Talented. Before, you could proc it with killing people with a skill and it would actually proc, but now it's intended originally to proc by a bullet from your gun. Once it kills somebody, then it would proc. Now it actually does that. So for all you people out there that was using skills to get Talented activated, I have not seen it activate with any skills that I do use, and I am mainly a skill-based player. Other than that, guys, hopefully you did enjoy the video. If you did like the video, if it was helpful to you, give it a like. It'd be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Hopefully this video wasn't too long, but if you wanted all the info for 1.7, a lot of it, then hopefully you did get it right here. And guys, if you do subscribe, click that little bell over there and click on notifications to be notified when I do upload a video. Other than that, guys, I'm JustHitSquare, and I will see you next time.